Steph Weaves Tales presents Paxwood, The Haunting of Paxwood House, a paranormal fantasy web serial written and narrated by Stephanie Gildart. Episode 36, Trick or Be Tricked. My first thought as Ryan Hugh, vampire lawyer, dragged me away from Rowen with one arm around my waist and the other around my throat. He was cold as a corpse. No, he was a corpse. Vampires were dead. Undead? Living dead. When a vampire wasn't actively using me as a hostage, I could work out the nomenclature. Char was right there, steps away from me, but struggling against the steely strength of the vampire got me no closer. Hold still, or I'll snap her neck, he hissed. I stopped moving, although it was Rowen who he must have been addressing. She stopped too, her short sword quavering slightly in her grip. "No need for that," she said. "Drop your sword. Kick it away. It's not like it's a holy blade blessed by a priest or anything. This sword wouldn't do you much harm." As she said this, Rowen tried to catch my gaze. She was staring at me, not at him. Was she guilty that she'd put me in this position? No. Guilty people didn't wink at you once they had your attention. "Do it," the lawyer insisted, gripping me more tightly, Char's bag of tricks squeezing against my side. Char's bag of tricks contained something holy and blessed by a priest, and the way Hugh was holding me, I had enough freedom of movement to slip my arm into the bag and fish around. As I did, I whimpered and tried to make it seem like I was only squirming out of fear. "I'm doing it." Rather than drop the sword, though, Rowen slowly crouched until she could lay the sword on the floor, dragging out the maneuver on purpose. I found the bottle, pulled it out, and put my thumbnail under the plastic spout. When I'd first noticed the bottle in the mix, it seemed so strange to find a travel lotion container labeled holy water. But fortunately for me and Rowen both, it only took a simple flick to open it. And then I jerked my arm upward and squeezed, sending a stream of the water into his arm. The vampire shrieked like I'd hit him with acid and flailed backward. I headed for Rowen while she gripped the hilt of her sword and sprang into motion, slashing at him fiercely. Even burned by that sanctified water, the vampire was fast. Although he took one slash to his arm while he recovered his senses, he dodged the next. "Get out of here, Kerry!" Rowen commanded. But Char was right there in the middle of that chalk circle with its 4 candles at the cardinal points, Ann Holt sitting cross-legged next to her. I couldn't just leave her. I squirted more holy water at the chalk circle and the nearest candle, dousing its flame and breaking the line. Then I passed through to sit down at Char's side, next to her broken arm, the arm I'd gotten broken, bringing her alone to this house. I fished Bungle out from my pocket, and she meowed in protest. Immediately, I got the clear impression that she did not care to take part in anything dangerous. "Please, I need your help," I whispered softly as I sat the glass cat down on my knee, then took the cord out from my pocket, too. Between this cord, this glass cat, and Mix Cardoso's magic, I'd gotten Adrian back into the waking world, and I didn't even like him. Clearly, Ann Holtz was already inside Char's mind, so if I could just hijack her connection somehow. Bungle slow blinked her emerald green eyes at me, glass tail curled around her paws. She gave me a sense of resigned consent, reluctantly willing to help. Was this how Mix Cardoso's relationship with Arcee went? Did the little mouse send emotions and impressions across whatever magical connection familiars had with mages? And really, what did it mean for me? Was I a mage? Not the time to explore that. Taking a deep breath, I wrapped the cord around my wrist and Char's in a figure 8, one loop after the next. And as I did, I searched for that feeling I'd had when I fell asleep into Adrian's dreams. This had to work. I was so much closer to Char emotionally than I'd ever been with Adrian Morgan, so it had to be easier to dive into her dreaming mind. Bungle curled up on my knee and started purring softly. Even as small as she was, her soothing reverberations resonated with me, which was good because it was unsurprisingly difficult to fall asleep when a demon slayer was battling with a vampire 5 feet away from you. "You're not going to get out of this house alive," Hugh snarled. My eyes were closed, which only made the scuffing of their feet across the cold cement floor louder, In comic books and movies, Rowen's sword might make whooshing noises as each attempted strike slashed through empty air, the vampire's innate speed giving him an advantage. But only her actual hits made sound, a squishy, meaty squelch when the blade met undead flesh. "I've dealt with worse than you, with less help," Rowen said. Minuscule glass claws dug into my jeans, although the prickling was more mental than physical. If Bungle was going to help me get into Char's dream, I needed to do my part. I breathed and focused on Char, our friendship, everything I wanted to tell her. "I love you." The first time I'd said it out loud in her presence, even if she was asleep and she couldn't hear it. With those 3 words, the magic took hold, and I dropped into Slumberland and in the ghost's domain. The Evergreen Ballroom, the same one I'd been to once before. I stood on the carpet that led directly toward the throne. As before, 3 ladies stood around that horrible throne, which still sat empty, waiting for someone to sit upon it. "Kerry May Reese Hansen," an announcer declared, so much like the last time. And just the same, I felt like those women wanted me to come to them. This time, there was no Bast to pull me into the dancing crowd. Were those dream figments or actual ghosts? Bungle nipped at my ankle. "Pay attention," she snapped. "Bungle, how did you get here?" Neither of us expected the Paxwood lady in the pantsuit to stride down along the carpet, crouch down, and reach out to pet Bungle's glass fur. The woman looked up at me. "Did you bring my precious cat back to me? How incredibly thoughtful." Kept me in a box, never in the sun, only got me out when I'd be useful or conversation piece, novelty. Precious? Hardly. Bungle was seething. These words, I could tell, were only directed toward me. And yet she nuzzled the woman's hand, then exposed her belly. I'd never owned a cat, but I knew enough to recognize that this was either a sign of trust or a trap, and based on the hatred I could feel radiating from her, the Paxwood in the pantsuit didn't even see it coming. When she went to stroke Bungle's exposed belly, all of Bungle's glass shard claws dug straight into her flesh, or the ghost dream equivalent of glass and flesh. Not the time to make sense of the material composition of dream things. With Bungle actively distracting the Paxwood, Marjorie probably, I turned toward the dancers. If Char wasn't standing out here in the open, she had to be among them. Maybe Bast had come to save her too? The 2 other Paxwood ladies came to their sister's aid, but Bungle understood a thing or two about the magic of Slumberland. She grew in size until she was more like a glass tiger than a glass house cat. "Can't do this long," she warned me. I took a breath, like I was about to dive into a pool, and plunged into the dancing mass. They were colder than I remembered. Or had Bast just been keeping them all at arm's length when he helped me out before? They reached out to me, trying to catch me by the hand or shoulder to pull me into their dance. "Char?" I called out. "Char! Can you hear me? You have to be here." The ghost dancers whirled. One forced their hand into mine and placed their other hand high on my waist, a formal dance form. I jammed my hand in my pocket and imagined with all my might that one of Char's rock salt poppers was there. It wasn't there, except I believed in it as fiercely as I believed in Char. She'd made that bag of supplies for me, and then it was there, and I used it to give myself some space. "Char! Kerry?" Her voice came from somewhere distant. I produced another rock salt popper and used it to clear more of a path for myself. "I'm here to get you out," I said. "Please, Char, where are you?" And then Char grabbed hold of me, trembling. Instinctively, I drew her into a dance embrace, the more plain modern kind, her arms around my neck, my hands gently sitting on her hips. Whether that instinct came from the ballroom domain's influence or my desire to hold Char close, hard to tell. "Nothing here makes any sense, Kerry. Is it really you? Where are we?" "I've got so many stories for you once I get you out of here. But first, I need to tell you something. I need to say this to you." I looked into her eyes. "Char, I'm falling in love with you. Not friend love. I know you accept I'm bisexual, but you've never really talked about your thoughts on romance. And I don't want to ruin our friendship, but if I don't say this, if I don't put it out in the open, it'll just eat away at me. Char pulled herself more closely into my embrace, resting her head right up against my chest. She was strangely warm and heavy. Oh, Kerry. She looked up at me through her eyelashes, so tender and sweet and dreamlike. Kerry? Char, a second Char asked. My head snapped toward her voice. That was also Char, somehow? Char? I looked from the tender Char in my arms to the one standing a good 5 feet away from me, then back. What's going on? That's not me, the distant Char said. I'm here, and I heard you. All of it. Kerry, of course it's me, the Char in my arms said, warm and close. Save me. Take me home. I've been waiting for you. The distant Char snorted. No, I've been waiting for you. I don't understand the half of it, but they've been calling my name over and over, but this strange woman told me to stay in the crowd. I thought it was a trick when they announced your arrival. Or was that confession the trick? Are you even Kerry? She doesn't believe the real Kerry would love her, but I know you do. Why would you share everything with me, all your stories, all your interests, all the time we've gone out exploring together, if you didn't care about me? The Char in my arms pulled back to give me another tender smile. Then I took a whole step back. Strange woman? I asked the distant Char. She said her name was Clara. She said to wait for you, that you'd get me out of here, wherever here is. Clara? What about Bast? Was Bast with her? She said to tell you that Bast felt you save someone else, and he's trusting you to save me. She said he has everyone else in Paxwood. Why are you listening to her? She's trying to distract you, keep you here, keep you in danger, the first Char said. Get me out of here, please. I love you. The difference between reality and desire was so slight, thin as a sharpened knife, ready to slice everything to pieces. I pulled away from the imposter who claimed to love me and reached out for Char. Then let's get you out of here before it's too late. Oh, no, you don't, the imposter said. She uttered one of those harsh magic words, and I knew then exactly who she was. Trisha Anholtz. With her incantation, the dancing ghosts around us snapped to attention. Several grabbed me, others grabbed Char. They surged into the space between us in a whirl of bright masquerade colors. I'd almost had Char. We were almost out, and now? Now what could I do? Thank you, listeners, for tuning in. Paxwood, Book 1, The Haunting of Paxwood House, is written and narrated by Stephanie Gildart. That's me. Theme music composed by Human Nature. Visit PaxwoodTales.com to read the story as it unfolds. Want to read over my shoulder while I write what's next? Catch me live on Twitch for laid-back virtual write-ins and crafting. If you like the story and you want more, like, review, comment, subscribe, and if you're feeling particularly entangled, buy me a skein of yarn on Coffee. Kerry's totally normal tip of the day. Take care of your pets, and they will take care of you. That goes as much for mundane animals as it does for familiars.